Welcome to Mage Wars. I'm Alan Gerding, and today we're going to talk about the 4 different mages that come in the base set. There's the Warlock, the Priestess, the Beastmaster, and last but not least, there's the Wizard. Each one of these mages have their own attributes and their own special feel to them. I can't wait to talk about this more, so let's get into it. The core set includes 4 mages. Now the object of the game is to destroy the other mage. Because of this, you want to protect your mage at all costs. After all, the game's over once there's only one mage standing. Let's begin talking about all of the 4 mages by talking about the Priestess. She's the holy healer of Asira. Now, each mage comes with an ability card, so let's take a look at the Priestess's ability card. Let's look at the Priestess ability card. There's some very basic facts on there, like her life, her channeling, some abilities, her spell points. Let's take a look. So if you see here, you have the Priestess. That's her class. And if you read underneath that, in smaller print, you have her subclass. Here it reads Warlock. She also has life. Life is 32 and has that heart symbol there. Then there's armor. Her armor is 0. But then there's channeling. Channeling is how much mana she's going to get each round. Her mana is going to recharge 10. That is her channeling rate. We also have her melee basic attack. Her melee basic attack here, you can see, is 3. She gets to roll 3 attack die if she's attacking someone in a melee attack. Last but not least, let's go back to the top of the Priestess ability card. Here you'll see that she has 120 spell points. Now, spell points are used to create your spell book. Now, the Priestess has some restrictions on what spells she can put in her spell book. Let's take a look at that now. Let's look at the Priestess ability card under the training section. If you see it, it says that she's trained in the Holy School, and it also says dark spells cost triple during spellbook creation. So what does that mean? Well, again, she has 120 spell points, and this is a type of currency that you spend on cards when you put them into your spellbook. You can't have an unlimited spellbook size. So, her spells are of the Healing Holy School. So she has healing spells, protective temples, stalwart knights, powerful angels, and these blinding light spells. They're all pretty much representative of the Holy School. Now, if she were to put a holy spell into her spell book, it only costs that spell level. For example, let's look at the Knight of Westlock. The Knight of Westlock is a level 3 spell. Therefore, if the Priestess specifically was going to put that spell in her spell book, it would only cost her 3 of her spell book points. But spells outside of the school cost double. For example, Dispel. Dispel comes from the Arcane School, and it's level 1. Now, since it's double, it would cost her 2 spell points to put that in her spellbook. Now, according to her training text, Dark Magic costs triple. For example, the Firebrand Imp is a Dark Magic spell. It is level 1. But for the Priestess to put in her spellbook, it would cost her 3 spell points. Putting Dark Magic spells adds a great surprise to the Priestess spellbook. She could completely surprise her opponent by having these dark spells, which is totally atypical for a Priestess to have. However, you know that she spent a lot of spell points to put that in her book, therefore reducing the total amount of spells she probably has in that spell book. Let's go back to the ability card with these highlighted abilities. You'll see that under the ability section, the Priestess has the Divine Reward and the Restore ability, but we'll get into exactly how those work in another video. Let's talk about the best way you can possibly use the Priestess. Now, the Priestess is not physically the strongest. Instead, she relies more on her creatures and her spells. So one good idea is to choose a champion angel to fight for her, summon it on the field, and defend that angel with her healing and protection spells. She also have knights, and knights have a high armor and very powerful defense. Clerics can worship in the Temple of Asira to give it mana, and then can heal other creatures with their own abilities. So one thing you may want to try to do is build up a defensive fortress. She can even throw in her royal archers to protect it from afar. One thing I personally like about the Priestess is that she really can heal a lot. So while you may think you're beating the Priestess, in just one round, she could be back up, as well as her creatures. If tricky's your thing, you're gonna love the Wizard. He's the Seeker of Latari. Let's go ahead and take a look at his ability card. Looking at his ability card, we can easily see that he has 32 life and 10 channel. He has a melee attack of 3, and he has no armor. If we look at the training, he's trained in the Arcane School. He also gets a choice of one other element in which he's trained. It can be fire, air, water, or earth. For example, fire spells will cost the level of the spell, but water will be double if he chooses the fire element. It's vice versa if he chooses the water element. So how do you play the wizard? Well, the wizard is the master manipulator. He's really good at blocking, redirecting, destroying, and stealing his opponent's spells. He has spells such as Jinx, Nullify, and Reverse Magic. They're all very tricky. Expanding his own channeling is another thing he can do. So he can lay mana crystals and cast Harmonize, meaning that he gets so much mana every round. He can also snuff out other players' mana, almost like extinguishing their internal fire. He can do this with spells like Mana Siphon and summoning the creatures that leech mana, the Mana Leech. And he also has a Suppression Cloak. Mana Denial is good, but he also needs offense. He has it. He has creatures like the massive Darkfen Hydra. He has the Gorgon Archers and the Stone Gaze Basilisks, which do terrifying poisonous attacks. He also has a familiar that your opponents are going to hate, and his name is Hugin. You can see hidden enchantments, and this lets the wizard know which enchantment he needs to destroy and which enchantment he can steal. He also has these abilities: Volteric Shield, Arcane Zap, and we'll cover these in a future video. But right now, let me tell you why I personally like the wizard. He is a type of jack of all trades. He's very versatile, so when you're playing the wizard, you really have no idea what is up your opponent's sleeve, because one wizard player can play completely different from another wizard player. Now let's talk about the Warlock, the servant of the Araxian Crown. Let's take a look at his ability card and see what this bad boy is all about. So everything's pretty straightforward here. The Warlock has 38 life. He has a 9 channeling ability, and he has a melee attack of 3. But he also has a battle skill, which adds +1 to all of his melee attacks. His armor is 0. He doesn't start with any. But now if we look at what he's trained in the Dark School and the Fire School. So he has demons and curses as well as fireballs and fire walls. These will only cost the face value of the spells. Unfortunately, holy spells cost triple. So while the Warlock may be a master of damage and even damage over time, it's a little difficult for the Warlock because heal spells will cost triple. Now let's talk about some good ways to play the Warlock. This guy is pure anger. So when you play someone with anger, you want pure aggression. He has direct attack spells and curses, which gives him an early advantage. Right from the get-go, he can just rush over to the other mage and cast fireballs and firestorm and curses like Ghoul Rot. He also has really great equipment, and this makes him a great frontline fighter. The Demon Hide armor and the Helm of Fear make him a foe to be reckoned with. Some mages like to have their creatures do the dirty work. The Warlock, he's totally capable on his own. He also has these curses like Maim Wings, Agony, and Poison Blood. Man, your opponents are going to hate you. He also has evil demons to do his job, like Adramelech, Melakota, Firebrand Imps, and the Flaming Hellions. These are a team of all-out assailants. They can bombard with fiery brimstone pain. He also has the following abilities. He has Curse Weaving. He has a Blood Reaper. He can choose one creature to beat. Again, we'll cover these abilities in another video. Let me talk personally about what makes the Warlock great. The Wizard's great because he's very tricky. The Warlock's great because he's not. Basically, the Warlock will walk up to another mage's face, destroy him, and laugh right there and then, while that mage is thinking about, what should I do? Should I do this? Should I do that? The Warlock says, you shouldn't do any of those because you're dead. Next, let's talk about the Beastmaster from Straywood Forest. He's a great master of beasts. He can summon a whole bunch of them and send them in. Let's get a start by looking at his ability card. His ability card, pretty straightforward. He gets 36 life. He also has a channeling of 9. He also has a melee attack of 3. And like the Warlock, he has a battle skill which adds +1 to all his melee attacks. But his starting armor, again, 0. Now he's trained in the Nature School. So what do you find in the Nature School? A whole lot of animals and a whole lot of nature things, like plants and leaves. Fire spells unfortunately cost triple. So this Beastmaster is probably not going to be throwing a whole lot of fireballs and flame walls in his own spellbook. So how does one play the Beastmaster? Well, by definition, he is the master of beasts. So you better get those beasts out there. He can create a legion of animals. These animals can have a pack mentality. He can get a pet that leads with him. He can summon these quickly, and he can even summon a lair. This lair can summon creatures just like the Beastmaster can. That's a whole lot of creatures in a short amount of time. He can also buff these creatures. He has enchants like Rhino Hide and Bear Strengths. So he already has a really strong creatures like the Grizzly. However, he can make them even stronger. So the Beastmaster can fight with all these creatures that he summons, but for the most part, he's going to support them. He has great conjurations, like the aforementioned lair, but also ones like Rajan's Fury. Here are the Beastmaster's abilities. He has Pet, which makes a creature his pet, gives it a nice buff. He also can summon creatures quickly, but we'll explain those, along with the other mage's abilities, in a future video. Why is the Beastmaster awesome? Let me tell you. One of my own personal favorite strategies to do is I like to get one really powerful creature out there and just buff that creature with so many enchants. The Beastmaster is the man for that, because not only does he have access to so many creatures and so many versatile creatures, but those enchantments that he has, he can really support that major creature. So those are the 4 mages that come in the base set. You've got the Beastmaster, the Warlock, the Wizard, and the Priestess. Now keep in mind, there's going to be plenty more mages yet to come. But for now, find the mage that feels right for you. You are that mage. Enjoy. Well, that's it for now. But next time, we're going to talk about something fascinating. Walls. I'm Alan Gerding, and I'll see you in the arena.